What's going on, everyone? My name is Nicholas Merton here at DataDash, and today is March 1st of 2018. Well, folks, as we step into the month of March, it's time for our very first daily update of the month. And whereas January and February were full of FOMO and FUD and a ton of news in the headlines, luckily we started off March on a clean slate. And it seems like it's been relatively quiet so far. So nothing too crazy to talk about today, but we have some very important things to cover. First and foremost, we're going to be doing some analysis on valuations in the market, as well as doing some TA on the market leaders. But there's also three key other components that we want to talk about here in the daily update. First and foremost, a lot of people have been asking me to give an analysis on the Circle acquisition of Poloniex. So I'll be sharing my opinion on that as we go throughout the video. Along with that as well, some increased adoption in 2017 and 2018 in African nations, even comparable to China in regards to cryptocurrency. So we'll talk about why that is as well. And last but not least, we're going to be talking about two positions that I recently added to my long-term portfolio. Yes, and they're not Bitcoin, folks. All right. So we'll talk about that as we go through the TA segment in the video. Nonetheless, let's go ahead and dive into the daily update. So first and foremost, guys, again, nothing too much different in regards to market valuations. Again, we're kind of in a sideways market right now. Valuations are still hanging below my target of getting above $500 billion, climbing a little bit higher and then building support on that previous resistance. So I think that's what we're looking forward to. It looks like it might be curving up. Again, we're going to really need Bitcoin to start curving up as well and retesting towards 12,000 for that to happen. As we go down as well, again, talking on Bitcoin and general cryptocurrencies and the dominance in the market, again, I'm still signaling the idea that Bitcoin is probably going to continue to gain dominance in this market, guys. As other coins continue to go down, we should be riding on Bitcoin as a potential safe haven position. At least that's what my opinion is. And then along with that as well, we have other coins going down, providing an opportunity to get in cheap, to kind of pack up for the next big bull run in altcoins. When is that going to happen? Some people have been saying in March, April, or May. I don't know. We've got to talk about it a little bit more, do a little bit more research and see if we can really find any serious trends in the altcoin space. But as of now, guys, again, Bitcoin, in my opinion, is still the play here. So as we go here to, we're going to go out of the daily here. The daily is still signaling a pretty sideways pattern here. But on the hourly, we're seeing some signaled confidence in price action. So whereas on the 200 hour, we saw Bitcoin over the past few days under the 200 hour, we got past resistance. And now we've had two cases of support over the past 2 days that have signaled that this is potentially going to be an opportunity for Bitcoin to move to higher levels, to get past this Fibonacci level, to close higher than 11,800, and to really see us pass towards 12,000 to 12,500. So I think that's the case for Bitcoin here, guys. Again, not rushing it here. And also we could very well see a bearish case if Bitcoin goes below and gets resistance at 11,000 where it's currently testing. And then if we get below the 200 hour for Bitcoin, that could be a bearish case for it, and we'll have to see where it could go. Might come back down to the 200 day in that case. Next up, Ethereum, Bitcoin. Again, guys, nothing too new on this. I still think this is going to roll over and test below these lows and go down to the 200 day and test around this previous level of support at 7 million Satoshis. Again, those price levels matter, guys. We got to keep an eye on that. We got to remain patient. So no trading on Ethereum for me personally at this moment. XRP BTC, again, guys, the bearish case is still playing here. I think this has got a lot more ways to go as we not only can look towards previous price history for Ripple, but along with that as well, I've decided that I'm not touching this after its parabolic run up until it comes down to the 200 day, and I might even wait further for that. So again, just personally on a fundamental side as well as a technical side, I'm not very bullish on Ripple at the moment. Taking a look at Bitcoin Cash over Bitcoin. Again, guys, this trade I've been keeping an eye on for a while. I'm waiting to see if this will hold on the bottom of the wedge. We might get some sell-off. I'm waiting. I'm going to pretty much call the trade kind of failed here if we get a big sell-off through the wedge to the bottom. But as of now, it's still holding. We had a little bit of resilience here in regards to price action. So let's see if we can get a good day to the upside or two. There might be a good trading opportunity to break out through the wedge, but there's going to need to be a catalyst for this, guys. This has been a very big wedge building up here, and I just don't know what that's going to be because fees for Bitcoin are extremely low, and that was going to be the case. If fees remained high for Bitcoin, there would have been a case for Bitcoin Cash, even in the trading and investing side, seeing as they had it on open on Coinbase. So because of that, I think the catalyst is dead. Bitcoin fees are pennies for a transaction. So because of that, I think that the fundamentals just aren't there. I can't see what would really cause this to break out. Next up is Litecoin. Again, guys, signaling isn't changing too much. We're still at highs here, waiting for a pullback down to one of these moving averages to garner support, whether it be the 50-day, 100-day, or 200-day. I'd really love if we got down to the 200-day, but again, there's a decent distance between those two, both the current price level and that moving average. So Don't want to get too greedy. But Neo BTC, again, guys, I'm waiting for this to come down to the moving average as well. One of the overextended kind of players in the space. As much as I love the fundamentals, we see it breaking down below the 50-day. Now, unless we get support down at 1,100,000 Satoshis, I think we're going to have to wait for the 100-day or the 200-day to come up on the chart. So, again, we might have to be patient on Neo. Now, to talk about the market players that I'm really excited about as of recent with the discounts that have come into the market, and also what I've added to, first and foremost is Cardano. So I'm going to spend some time to kind of build my rationale. Again, guys, you got to do your own research into this. This is not financial advice, but this is one of my recent additions to my long-term portfolio. So it's not a swing trade. I'm not taking too much trading analysis to this. The reason I'm doing this is, first and foremost, it seems like Cardano is holding around a level of support that it was holding back in December before it had its continued run up. And it's really the last level of support we have until down here at 1,300 Satoshis. So I'm going to add my first partial share for my long-term portfolio here, or at least addition since the whole altcoin run up in December of Cardano to my portfolio here. I added around like 2,700, like 80 or 90 Satoshi, something around there. So pretty much close to where it is now. And I'm thinking that we could possibly start seeing it build support here. If not, I'm going to be adding my second position down here at 1,300 Satoshis and just averaging down. I believe in Cardano for the long term. And like I said, it's a long-term addition, not a trade. If we go here as well to ADA and look at the USD value, I usually don't like to do this unless I'm looking at longer term cycles. I don't use it so much for trading. But for the longer term cycle, ADA has been holding here at 30 cents quite well. We see historically back here in December at 30 cents. We see it over here in early February, and towards the late part of February as well as into March, we're seeing it hold at 30 cents. So much better discount from $1.40. And I think that we could see, if ADA holds strong, a potential boost in volume over the next few days. But again, we're just going to have to remain patient, guys, and I'm willing to hold this until it starts to move up and everything. I really believe in the project for the long term. Next up is Icon. Now, as many of you know, Icon was one of my players for February, and just like all other altcoins, Icon definitely took a little bit of a hit. However, nonetheless, I am definitely going to be adding some positions at this discount. I already added my first one today at around 3,400 Satoshis, and I'm going to be adding an additional layer down here at 3,000 if we can garner some support at what seems like the last area of support for Icon due to its short price history. Same goes with Cardano, obviously. These coins have a very short life cycle on the markets right now, so there's not a lot of price action or indicators we can really utilize at this moment. So price levels really matter for these early coins. And I can see that it looks like it's kind of slowing down and sloping down towards 3,000 Satoshis. That's my kind of rationale on it, guys. But I'd love to hear what you guys think. I think these coins have good fundamentals, but I'd like to hear what you all think about the fundamentals, the trading opportunities that might lie here, and also just what you currently think about all the things going on in regards to these projects. Or maybe there's a coin or token that I'm missing in the market. So I'd love to get some feedback from you guys and check it out. Along with that as well, let's go ahead and jump into the big headlines. Circle acquiring Poloniex. A lot of people have been asking me if this is a good thing or a bad thing, or the institutions getting their grip in regards to the infrastructure and trading platforms of cryptocurrency. Well, I think there's a lot of good and bad that comes with this, guys. We can't ignore that this is a really big headline and definitely a good step for cryptocurrencies. First and foremost, to show that there's a lot of institutional interest in regards to this ecosystem and becoming a part of it. So that's good, because we're going to need institutions to start pulling in capital into this space to really make this a massive currency market. So good news in that regard. But outside of that, there's also some other positives before we dive into the negatives. First and foremost, we really have to take a step back and understand where Poloniex is sitting at the moment. Poloniex, which used to be a leading exchange back in 2016 and 2017, has really become an abandoned exchange. Not only did they close the fiat gateways in December of 2016, meaning that people can't buy Bitcoin directly on Poloniex anymore, but along with that as well, there's been a lot of increased competition, and with that, Poloniex hasn't really taken any swift action. They haven't listed a lot of new coins or tokens on the exchange. They haven't been doing a lot of good customer support that's needed or supplying support tickets and requests. And because of that, people have abandoned it. The volume has stayed pretty stagnant, if not declined, on Poloniex, and money has circulated towards Binance, Bittrex, KuCoin, and all these other exchanges that offer better service and better opportunities to invest. So because of that, Poloniex, out of all exchanges, was a perfect target for Circle. to come in, swift up all the negativity, and fix it into a better exchange. Now, they've got a lot of optimistic kind of objectives and goals in regards to making Poloniex something much better. They want to provide better customer support. They want it to be a platform in regards to opening up all types of different coins and tokens and everything like that. And because of their financial background and their financial backing from companies like Goldman Sachs and different big investors, that they might be able to have a better stance at being able to bring in different types of tokens and everything that the SEC is still trying to define as to whether or not it's positive or allowed in regards to exchanging, or something that would have to be excluded from the US. So really interested in that. Really interested to see if they can, as a VC, really take this to the mainstream and make a really solid exchange. And they want to make it an all-in-one exchange, so they want to bring back those fiat gateways. I think that's going to be a very good step for Poloniex, which could bring a lot of volume in. But we'll have to see. Time will tell how fast they can actually do all that, and if they can actually meet all the financial regulation in regards to it. Now, in regards to a question of financial regulation, this is where the kind of dark side comes in. So Nathaniel Popper is a really famous author of a big Bitcoin book that's definitely been a big pick over the past few years, is someone on Twitter who recently put out a tweet which was a confidential, supposedly, again, I don't know if this is a real source, guys, or if he's gone causing FUD or things like that. But the whole thing is basically Nathan put out a tweet that was supposedly a confidential slide from a Circle meeting. And inside the slide, you have three major paragraphs here. One that talks generally about how it's going to work as a standalone exchange business, as a subsidiary under Circle, and they're going to add about 80 to 100 personnel and all kinds of different business practices and stuff that they're going to add to the exchange. But along with that, I really got interested, and most people got interested in the SEC approach paragraph here. So I'm going to go ahead and read through this. Circle has briefed the SEC on the transaction and indicated that upon closing that we will begin the process of registering the new entity with the SEC and FINRA as a broker-dealer, and in turn as a licensed ATS, electronic trading marketplace. The SEC was very favorable on this approach and indicated that they would not pursue any enforcement action for prior activity. They said that we are the first and only company in the space to approach them, and we are very progressive on working closely, and they're very progressive in regards to working with us. So let's go ahead and take that paragraph there and really kind of understand the good and bad that comes with it. The good is the fact that the SEC is working to build exchanges and help support exchanges that are looking to be compliant, to build a nice ecosystem for people to get involved, to enter in fiat currency into crypto, to trade all these different types of tokens and coins in the cryptocurrency space. So this is good news in that regard. The bad thing I see in this is the fact that I think someone in the CoinDesk article that I have up there, the author had used a definition of a carrot and stick trick. This whole kind of idea that, oh, well, so long as there's financial backing from traditional finance or the institutions of finance, oh, no worries, we'll brush it off. So there's a little bit of cronyism there, but the really big fearful thing that signals to other exchanges is, well, if you have any questionable activities that you might have undergone over the past few months in a quite unregulated market that's new and fresh, and you feel like you might have violated SEC regulations and you don't want us to crack down, you might as well consider putting yourself on the marketplace and allowing the big institutions to buy you up. And that's where the kind of carrot and stick analogy is kind of coming into play. It's an analogy that it's drawing in the exchanges to quickly kind of follow the bait and follow into the holdings of institutions, or at least letting institutions have ownership and investment in these exchanges so they can have a stake in the overall marketplace. Now, I see this as an issue, and because of that, I'm going to be keeping my eye on it, seeing how it develops, and seeing if this becomes a bigger issue, if we see more acquisitions of exchanges. But again, we have to make sure, guys, that the SEC itself, which sometimes can do good, but also can do bad, and can look the other way sometimes, if the SEC will hold all institutions on a fair level playing field. Sadly, sometimes in history, the SEC has not done that. But nonetheless, we'll have to see. All right, so let's go ahead here and talk about a little more positive news here. Bitcoin adoption has soared in African nation states across the continent, and there's been a few reasons as to why this is happening. So as we go through the article, we can see that out of the 30 countries with high growth in regards to Bitcoin, we see that a lot of them are even comparative to China, and they're based in Africa. So what are the major reasons that this is happening as of now? Well, there's really two major things. First and foremost, I think one thing that the article doesn't kick on too much is the hyperinflation and kind of geopolitics in regards to currency stability for traditional fiat currencies. A lot of people talk about crypto volatility, and that's a really big issue. But at the same time, for people in a nation like Venezuela or nations in Africa like Zimbabwe, where you have a hyperinflated currency that is unstable, Bitcoin is a very good alternative for that, as well as other cryptocurrencies. But along with that as well, we also have the topic of remittance payments. So as we go through here, we have a lot of people in a variety of different African nations who immigrate over towards Western nations or more developed areas, where they'll go out and they'll work and they'll use Bitcoin and other cryptocurrencies as remittance payment systems to funnel money back home to parents or other family and friends. Now, the interesting thing is that it's really awesome to see cryptocurrencies being used for remittance payments, because it's one of the obvious use cases for it. You take, for example, companies like Western Union and other different remittance payments companies, where, for example, if you want to send $100 back home, you're only going to get $70 back unless you want to pay a fee on top of it. And also, you're going to have to wait 2 to 3 days. It's ridiculous. So in the case of crypto, you can send money much faster on a global borderless payment solution, and at the same time, you can pay lower fees for it. Now, just a few cents per transaction for Bitcoin. So Bitcoin, again, can be used in a sense for money transfer. This is really interesting, and it's good to see people using it for the use case, especially in areas where it's needed. So I'd like to ask, though, what do you guys think about this in regards to the adoption side of things? Do you think we're seeing enough adoption? Do you think this is, more than anything, a sign that not only just the Western part of the world or China or South Korea could be adopting it, but also African nation states could be adopting cryptocurrency? I think they're definitely going to, because they really don't have much of a choice. And you can see that in the growth of these different exchanges that have come out. I think the M-Pesa and BitPesa that launched have really tapped into the opportunity that is available in these markets. I think you're obviously going to see worldwide adoption in regards to crypto, so long as the regulators don't serve as overbearing for it. And either way, I think people will find a way around it. So anyways, guys, that's it for the daily update. Thank you guys so much for watching. Please like and subscribe to the video. And if you guys have anything that you want me to cover in the next video, leave it down in the comments down below. But until then, guys, I will see you all in the next video. Stay tuned.